Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome. We are here doing our deep dive study on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service. And we have started this new section of the chapter where they're helping us navigate these various personalities. And so today, we just, when I was in Toronto, I skipped ahead. We had yesterday we addressed the verse that I skipped ahead because in Toronto I jumped to verse 23 because of all the traveling I got mixed up. So I jumped to 23 last class last Saturday, went back to 22, and so now we are on verse number 24. That's 1, 2, 24. So the previous verse is describing that Sattvam Rajas Tama iti Prakatir Gunaster Yukta Para Purusha Eka hi Hasya Datte Titi Adaye Hari Virinchi Hareti Samgya Shreyam Sitatra Kalo Satpataram Ninamshu. So it says Krishna is indirectly associated with the three modes. And he has his different avatars that control those modes, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And so what mode is most beneficial for a person is the mode of goodness. And therefore the Lord of the mode of goodness is the most beneficial Lord to approach. That's Lord Vishnu. And so this verse is continuing that point. So here I'll make my screen a little bigger. I'll share my screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Partivad Daruno Dhumas. Maybe you see what is like Navanit, you see a no smoking sign. It says something like something no Dumas or something. What is how to if there's a no smoking sign in India?
It's Dhumrapan.
Dhumrapan. Yeah. So here, so if you're from India, you'll see this. It's oftentimes it's very nice. You can start if you're there. If you're from there, you can recognize a lot of these Sanskrit words. Partivad Daruno Dhumas Tasmat Agnis Traimaya Tamasas tu Rajas Tasmat Sattvam Yat Brahma Darshanam. So this is a comparison. So you got 3, but technically even 4 things that are here. You have Daru. Daru means wood. You have Dhuma, smoke, and then you have fire. Wood is like the mode of ignorance in a sense. It's inert. It's inactive, inert. You know, if you have a piece of chopped up wood, it's not really doing anything. Smoke, it's like the mode of passion. There's activity, but it's also it's not pure. It's agitated. Whereas Agni is compared to the mode of goodness, or fire is compared to the mode of goodness. The fire is when you can actually, if you have a candle and you put it out and the smoke is going up, you can light the smoke, and the whole thing will come. So from the smoke, like when you're trying to start a fire, first comes the smoke, then comes fire. And so fire is considered a very pure element. You know, we offer food to the Lord in the form of yajna, in the fire is his mouth. Like they offer grains into the fire. And so And the yajnas that we do in Vedic culture are also they're all meant to satisfy Lord Vishnu. He is the bhokta, the origin, or the not origin, but the benefactor of the sacrifice. You also have this thing, earth here. So earth, vartivat, from earth comes wood, and then that. But better than wood is smoke. Better than smoke is fire. Better than tamas is rajas. Better than rajas is sattva. So let's read this. Firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than raw wood, and fire is still better. For by fire we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion is better than ignorance, but goodness, sattva, is best because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. And so this is specifically in regards to the previous verse about the different personalities that are in the Vedas, all these different primal demigods. You have Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So as I mentioned in the previous class, beginning basically from verse 6 on in this whole chapter, it's describing how bhakti is the essence and the highest of all processes. And now we're getting to verse like 23 on, or 22. It's describing, well, okay, bhakti is the highest, but bhakti to who? Who is the highest object of worship? And so that's this latter half of the chapters. Who is the highest object of worship? And certainly, if you read the Vedic literature, some wonderful, powerful, amazing glorifications of Lord Shiva. Wonderful, powerful, amazing glorifications of Lord Brahma. And so, who should we be directing our attention to? And so here it's saying that these lords have, they're in charge of these various modes of nature, and specifically for Brahma and Shiva, they're actually connected, they're actually affected by the mode of passion in the sense of Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva is affected or touched by this mode of ignorance that he is to control. But Lord Vishnu is actually he is beyond the gunas. He's nirguna. He is without any connection to the gunas. He maintains sattva, but he is not affected by the material mode of sattva. He's actually the Lord is Shuddha sattva, pure sattva. So there's no material element that is there. Okay, so we'll just go over the purport. It's not too long, it's very short. As explained above, one can get released from the conditioned life of material existence by devotional service to the personality of Godhead. It's further comprehended herein that one has to rise to the platform of the mode of goodness, sattva, so that one can be eligible for devotional service to the Lord. But if there are impediments on the progressive path, anyone, even on the platform of Tamas, can gradually rise to the Sattva platform by the direction of an expert spiritual master. Sincere candidates must therefore approach an expert spiritual master with such a progressive march, and the bona fide expert spiritual master is competent to direct a disciple from any stage of life, Rajas, Tamas, or Tamas, Rajas, or Sattva. It is a mistake, therefore, to consider that worship of any quality or any form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally beneficial. So these are called guna avatars. These are actually this is a special manifestation of the Lord. Guna avatar is Brahma is a jiva, but he is empowered with the Shakti of the Lord to have great power where he can control the mode of passion. Therefore, he is known as a good avatar. Lord Shiva, he is also in a similar situation. Lord Shiva is a very difficult to understand personality because he actually has his own category, completely different from all others. Except Vishnu, all separated forms are manifested in the conditions of material energy. Therefore, the forms of material energy cannot help anyone rise to the platform of Sattva, which alone can liberate a person from material bondage. So you have the three modes of material nature. I heard one example that Prabhupada said that the mode of goodness is like a window. So if you want to see what's happening in the spiritual world, what's spiritual life like? What is the spiritual existence like? If you look out the window, you can see what's happening. It doesn't mean you're really there, but you can see it, you can perceive it. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it describes that the mode of goodness is when all the gates of the body are illuminated with clarity. So when the person is not heavily affected by ignorance and passion, they can see things in a very clear way. Carmen's got her hand up. Got it? You have a question, Carmen G?
No, I had something to kind of like add.
Oh,
I remember
go for it.
Philip saying that the paintings of Krishna are like windows to the spiritual world.
Oh yeah. There you go. Paintings, yeah. They can, yeah. Without the paintings, oh my God, it would be so hard to really appreciate all of Krishna's pastimes, the beautiful paintings. So yeah, the mode of goodness is like a window. You can see. It doesn't mean you're really there, but you're seeing it from within the confines of the building that you're in. And you could say, just like the concrete wall is more like the mode of passion. Maybe you have it's a little bit of a glimpse, like in the sense like you could probably hear something. Mode of passion is there's some it's better. There's a little bit of more connection with realization of Bhagavan. For example, in the Vedic culture, you have the yajnas, the sacrifices. Many of these are all in the mode of passion. Let me do this, I will get this. Let me do this, I'll get that. But by such yajnas, the person is gradually having a deeper spiritual understanding. For example, if a person is performing yajna and hearing from the priests, the brahmanas, and hearing from the Vedas, then the first thing they're going to start to hear is the thing about a next life. So there's a concept of there's some knowledge that comes from that. Also, the person lives a very dutiful life, and such dutiful life, not being attached to the fruits, that dutiful life also produces more clarity in one's life. So the mode of passion, it's like being in a room without windows, but there's still, you can kind of have a little sense of what's happening outside. And the mode of ignorance is kind of like a soundproof room, like a nice soundproof studio. You have no idea what's happening in the spiritual world. There's one example of the opposite. Actually, it's described that in the deepest state of sleep, the soul connects to the super soul. In the deepest state of sleep. So one may argue that Shiva, who controls the mode of ignorance, is higher than Brahma. Actually, Shiva is considered he is a more elevated devotee than Lord Brahma. Yata Vaishnavam Shambhuva, the greatest of all Vaishnavas. Or one may consider the mode of passion better. But here, for sure, it's the mode of goodness, where it's the actual window. You can actually see what's happening. So that's a special significance that is there. Let me see. Let's go back and finish that last part of purport. The uncivilized state of life, or the life of lower animals, is controlled by the mode of Tamas. The civilized life of man, with passion for various types of material benefits, is a stage of Raja. Raja's stage of life gives a slight clue to the realization of the absolute truth in the form of fine sentiments and philosophy, art, and culture, with moral and ethical principles. But the mode of Sattva is still a higher stage of material quality, which actually helps one in realizing the absolute truth. In other words, there is a qualitative difference between the different kinds of worshiping methods, as well as the respective results derived from dominating deities, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Hara, or Shiva. That's in the previous verses, known as Hareti, Hara. So, yeah, Anna, you have this verse. Oh, Navneet has a question. You can just get on if you don't have to even raise your hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Yes.
I didn't get this. I didn't get this line. Except Vishnu, all the separated forms are manifested under the conditions of material energy, and therefore the forms of material energy cannot help anyone rise to the platform of Sattva. Means about with the other forms, is it are the demigods talking about?
Yeah, that's even regarding Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma,
Okay.
because they still have some connection to material energy. They're not fully spiritual. So if someone is, like Brahma is a jiva, he may be a very realized jiva, but he's still a jiva. And he's like it's like if you have a prison, the warden can't really let you out. It's actually the governor, the mayor, somebody who is above the warden. Although the warden has so much power, and it's not affected like as being in the prison as somebody else. But the real authority to get out of the prison is a higher authority, like a governor, or a president, or a mayor. You can say, oh, this person can be let out. So in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it is chapter 2, I think it's chapter 2, or maybe chapter 3. It describes this covering. Again, it's like the three modes of nature. It describes as a living entity is covered by the womb, as smoke is covered by fire, and as dust is covered by a mirror, so the living entity is covered by different layers of material desire, lust. And so these are, the desire actually creates a type of covering, or a type of ignorance or withholding of knowledge. So when you see, if there is a child within the womb, you have no idea of the child's form. Are they blue-eyed, brown-eyed, straight hair, curly hair, light skin, dark skin, male, female? You can't tell. So there's no sense of, like, you can't tell. There's no so that covering is it covers over quite completely the true form of the thing. So similarly, the mode of ignorance is like plant life. Here it says lower animal, our animal life. The true form of the soul is not really being expressed. It's so covered over. Actually, you can even say, I think in this example, it was plant life in the Bhagavad Gita example. And then the next one that's a little bit higher is smoke, fire covered by smoke. Now, fire covered by smoke is, you can see the form of the fire. Maybe you can't. Maybe it's so much smoke you can't see the fire, but there's still some heat. There's still some positive side of it, some benefit that can be obtained. So the actual form might not be perceived, but there's still some side benefits of like the quality of heat. That's the second one. That's compared to animal life in this example in the Bhagavad Gita. And the last one is a mirror covered by dust. Now, a mirror covered by dust, you can not only see the form, you can, it's almost a true representation. So it's in the human form of life where we can begin to understand the absolute truth. And so that's a human form of life is considered the last, the best stage to actually have some clue to self-realization. And then if you clean the mirror, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, then everything becomes very clean. Then that becomes like Shuddha Sattva that goes beyond the mode of goodness. So these are little, it's kind of, I'm going over an overlap of different, not necessarily tying in analogies, but they all kind of relate. We can take in, we can look at a little chart I made of the 3 modes of nature. Let's see if it will. Notion.so. Any reflections, any questions?
I think the way you explained the different modes kind of helped me understand it a little bit. Like goodness is like you're behind a window. You can see, you can hear, but you can't quite like go through. And then passion is like you can hear, but you cannot see. And then ignorance is like a soundproof box. You can't see or hear, and it's just completely based off of speculation on what's going on.
Nice, nice. Also, here's another example. Say you want to fly to Chicago. Okay? Say Chicago is the spiritual world. You want to fly to Chicago. That's compared to you want to be in Goloka. So, mode of ignorance is probably not a very useful platform to be able to fly to Chicago. Mode of ignorance means you're on the couch and you just get depressed about that you want to go to Chicago and you're not there. And you whine and you just cry about it. Oh, I'm going to Chicago. And then mode of passion is still not very helpful. Mode of passion means you get on the roof of your building and you jump as hard as you can and you try to catch a plane. Still not very helpful. Mode of goodness is you go to the airport. That is probably your best opportunity to fly to Chicago. But still, you can't just, if you go to the airport, doesn't mean you will fly to Chicago. You need to do certain things, like you need to like meet the ticket counter, meet the spiritual master, you know, and get the right, you know, ticket from the spiritual master. Does everybody see this guna chart here? Or do you still see my my Veda base? What do you see on the screen?
I see you like going back and forth to.
Okay, so you see the guna. It says Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is like Maya Devi with the three modes of nature binding us.
So this is a nice little chart of the 3 modes of nature. Here, we'll go through it real quick. Let me see.
He said he's just gonna have this harvest spinach today. I know, but how much did he say? I think he said 2 crates. The thing is, right before it came out, there's a boatload of clouds because it's supposed to rain today.
trying to make it bigger. Every time I try to make it bigger, it resizes it. Okay, so you hear C, Sattva. Sattva, what is the energy of Sattva? If you want to find the times of the day and feel that Sattva atmosphere, it's that early morning before the sun even rises. You see? And then, if you want to feel what is Rajas like, it's the middle of the day. Work, work, work. Pull that spinach. You know, work, work, work. Busy, busy, busy. You can't help but feel busy, you know, in the daytime. Late evening, Tamas. Late evening, Tamas. Residence, look at this. So residence, you have a home with a window view to a lake, and there's swans in the lake. Sattva. Rajas, home in the city, maybe on Fifth Avenue. Rajas is in the sense of like, don't be lazy, be successful, be powerful, build your empire, make plans, and fulfill those plans. Get busy, get serious. Rajas. And then here, Tamas, your home is also a bar / brothel on the basement level. Living in the red light district. Okay, look at this. Sattva. Foods in the mode of goodness. They're very healthy. They give strength. They give satisfaction and happiness. They increase your duration of life. They even purify your existence. Food in the mode of passion. It's too bitter, too salty, too hot, too sour. And they actually cause bodily distress, misery, and disease. And do you like here? You see the food in the mode of ignorance? Some like canned gator. There you go. A little bit of canned alligator. Food that is dead, decomposed, putrid, somebody else's leftovers. You see?
That looks gross.
Yeah, I found a really good photo for food in the mode of ignorance, isn't it? Of canned crock.
It's very accurate.
Oh. Then you have Sattva. What does it develop? It develops knowledge. Rajas, it develops greed. And Tamas develops foolishness, madness, and illusion. Now, these modes are within everything. So it depends on what category of things that you're looking at. So if you're, let's see. So on one category, you can say the plants are in the mode of ignorance, the insects are in the mode of passion, and the animals are in the mode of goodness. On another level, you could say insects are in the mode of ignorance, animals are in the mode of passion, and humans are in the mode of goodness. Or another level, you could say animals are in the mode of ignorance, humans are in the mode of passion, and demigods are in the mode of goodness. Or on another level, you could say humans are in the mode of ignorance, demigods are in the mode of passion, and the sages of the demigods, the celestial sages, are in the mode of goodness. Does everyone understand that point? Everyone understand that one?
That's a lot of thingamajiggamabs there.
Okay, so what it means is, like, for example, if you look in Ayurveda book, it'll describe the gunas for different fruits. And it'll say avocado and tamas. You're like, oh my God, avocado is tamasic? No, it's just got more tamas than an orange. So it's just it's just what spectrum you're looking at. like you could say this has a lot of red compared to this. Now this has a lot of red compared to this, but this is like way more red, you know? So it's just depending on, so three modes of nature are like the three primary colors. They're behind everything. All the colors you see have those colors in it. So if you say this thing has more red than that, it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing always. Like, so in comparison to the demigods, you know, then if the demigods are considered the mode of goodness compared to humans, then the animals would be in the mode of ignorance. But there are sages that are actually more in the mode of goodness than the demigods. So the demigods would be considered in the mode of passion, and the humans would be below that, more in the mode of ignorance, and the celestial sages would be in the mode of goodness. Does that make sense? You follow it now, or yes, no, maybe so?
Yeah, I got one question a little bit about kind of like the qualities of the modes. Because,
okay,
yeah, like if you say that a human's in the mode of goodness compared to an animal, and then a human's in the mode of ignorance compared to a sage, does that mean that the human only had like some of the qualities of goodness, or is it just kind of like a relations kind of thing?
yeah,
I'm getting technical.
Yeah, nobody has just one of these qualities. Everything is a mixture of all three. And sometimes we find ourselves more dominated by one mode or another. It's like the Bhagavad Gita script. Sometimes we feel like so lazy and so like grumpy and so moody. And sometimes we feel like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to build this, I'm going to do this, and you just feel like very motivated. And sometimes we find ourselves like we feel great pleasure in just studying and reading and meditating, chanting, and we find ourselves quite satisfied in that way. The modes of nature, they fluctuate. But in everything, you know, it's not that nobody is just one thing, no species, no thing is just one mode of nature. It's an all mixture. Like the three, like what color, you know, the colors, I guess that doesn't really, because you can find like green doesn't have really red in it, but so it's not the best example. But basically everything has all three colors. Like the colors on your screen of the TV, it's always like the three colors are there.
You're really good at explaining this.
I know. You're a great teacher.
So start with the
Actually, I'm having a doubt that if this demigods are in mode of just like passion or something, how they get elevated to that platform if they are in mode of passion or means not in the mode of goodness, then other than if they are in any other mode other than mode of goodness. So how they get elevated to that platform?
How do they get? So the Tamas stare in the Bhagavad Gita. We can look at Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 has a lot about this. So we go to Bhagavad Gita. Devata tam tamyam ashtaya prakritiniyata swaya. Bhagavad Gita chapter. It's low. Chapter 7. Okay, so near the end of this chapter. Okay, so he says here, first he says, after many deaths, births and deaths, practicing jnana, a person comes to surrender unto him, unto Vishnu, unto the Lord. But a person who's his jnana, his knowledge, is taken away. Here, let me pull it up with the Sanskrit. advanced view. And we're going to take off the purport, synonyms, and Devanagari. You can see. We'll come down to, again, I think it's verse 20. Is it verse 20? Yeah, verse 20. Tamas pister hitta jnana. So jnana means your knowledge. But here it's saying that a person whose knowledge has been taken by material desire, kama, one whose intelligence has been stolen away by material desires, such people are driven to worship the demigods, devatas. Actually, Krishna directs them in that way. He says, "This is if you desire, you're in rajas, you're in the mode of passion. Mode of passion, I'm talking about somebody in the mode of passion is, this is more like mode of passion and a little bit of goodness also. Is a very pious, like a very pious Hindu who's performing yagyas for a good life. Tam tam yamam ashtaya. Of course, I said it's not just one mode of nature that is there; it's a mixture. So, and the persons they follow the rules, and Krishna says, "I make their hearts steady." Someone who has, or who is not interested in spiritual life, but more interested in desire, material things, he says, "I give them the shraddha, the faith, to worship the demigods." And not only did I give them the faith, I give them the results. I give them the person who is chasing after material desires. I'm directing them to worship the demigods, and I give them the results. But those results are actually, they just come from him. A person with Meda means intelligence. And so if you want just a little more prasadam, someone's trying to offer some prasadam to you, you say swalpam, swalpam. You don't want very much, just little. So here Krishna is saying, a person who has very little intelligence, because they are looking for antavat. Anta means end. Antavat means things that have an end, that are perishable. The fruits that are perishable. Those who want perishable fruits, devan devo yajo yanti. They worship the demigods and they go to the demigods. They become demigods. But mad bhakta yanti mamapi. But my bhaktas come to me. Okay, and then
Here, sorry to disturb you again.
Oh no,
But
no.
Here I'm getting another doubt again, that if Krishna is only directing the people to worship other demigods, or why he's directing them, why he's not just making the people to come to him directly, or through
Yeah.
means like
He doesn't. Naham prakasha sarvasya. I'm not manifest to all. Let's go back to that chapter 7. Okay, we were text. So the next verse he talks about. Okay, this mouse is stuck. Okay, it's just slow. Sorry.
in the previous verse that we have heard about that indirectly he's giving only the benefit that demigod is giving. Indirectly Krishna is only giving it. So why doesn't he direct people to directly come to him and just like zigzag something like this?
Okay, so that goes back to chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Yeya tamam prapajante. I respond accordingly. I respond. So if they're not interested in me, then I don't reveal myself. This world is a playground for souls who don't want Krishna, and he lets them live in that illusion. He doesn't impose. If he were to give us Brahma Gyan, this realization that God is everywhere, or Paramatma Gyan, that he is within the heart of every atom as an individual personal form, then we wouldn't have that freedom to enjoy matter, the temporary experience of matter. We couldn't look at somebody and say, oh, that person's hot, because we would see that's the soul, and that's Krishna's part and parcel. So he allows the soul to express his independent desire to enjoy separately. If someone holds a gun to your head and says, love me, is that real love? Navneet, is it real love?
For what? For your love, for Krishna?
If someone holds a gun and says, you have to
No,
love me.
that's not a real love. That is by terror.
Yeah. So Krishna allows us to actually want him according to our own desire. Therefore, if we became aware of actual truth, that everything is made out of Krishna's energy, we would be forced to submit to Krishna.
But again, here that it's like so much things are prevalent, and when people get material benefits from one demigod or someone, so they just are like I have heard this philosophy in India. It's difficult. Like they say, do you know Shiva? Yeah, he's also Bhagavan. And do you know Ganesha? He's also Bhagavan. So everyone is Bhagavan. That's a philosophy here. That everyone is Bhagwan. So why are you asking to worship Krishna only? So when totally when people are like they have excuses because they are getting their material benefits completed material desires completed from these demigods. So they don't want to come or worship like Krishna. Oh, we are getting benefits from it. It's okay. It's okay.
And they don't have to learn anything different. They don't have to read some very specific Gaudiya literature. All you have to do is even just read Bhagavad Gita. It's right there. It's not like, and it's of course it's there in the Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, so many other books, this understanding, which are less well known, but Bhagavad Gita is right there.
Yeah, but people have, because of this, the Krishna is saying that that I am bestowing that all the desires that come from demigods, that indirectly I'm giving it. But people are really happy with their demigods. Okay, we are worshipping Shiva, and he's giving us whatever I desire, and he gives me. Okay, I'm really happy with it.
Yes, and our job is, if someone actually has some curiosity or interest, we may teach them, but otherwise their demigod worship will slowly elevate them. It's much better than nothing, and it will slowly elevate them. It is like the smoke. It's better than wood. There's at least some wood means tamas, inertia. There's some activity, there's some progress that's going on. So in this verse 24, he is saying, those who think I was impersonal, and now I'm a person. He is addressing the impersonalists. He said, those people, like the previous verse, he says, alpa medasam, very small brains. And then here he says, abudaya, no brains, no intelligence. Person who thinks that that Brahman has now become a person. God has now become a person in the form of the avatar of Krishna. No, God is always a person. And so this is the verse where he says, I do not manifest myself to such foolish and unintelligent people. I'm covered by my yoga maya samavitaha. I'm covered by my own power. It's like a tinted window. I can see them, but they can't see me. As it says in the next verse, I know everything. So, but they can't see me. Not mudo yam, such mudas, such fools, Nabi Janati, cannot know me. Because they don't want to know me. So I don't impose that existence, that understanding upon them. So, all these living entities, we are attached to desire and disgust, desire and hate. Desire, I like this, I don't like this. But if we practice, we're pious from our previous life, and we've almost eradicated our karma and free from dualities, then we start to engage in service. Krishna's saying, this chapter is continuing. No? Like the yogis, who are intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation, they take refuge in me. Mama Shrita Yatanti. Okay, so that's chapter 7. You have a lot about the Devata worship in chapter 7, but you also have it in chapter 9. Chapter 7 is kind of just saying about the desire, that because of material desire, they're being directed in this way. And here, let's look at chapter 9. Pravidyamam soma bhaputa papa yagya ishva swagatam papa yate te punyamashadra surrender lokan ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. Okay, so listen to this. So those who study the Vedas and drink the stoma juice, seeking the heavenly planet, worship me indirectly. So these are the demigod worshippers who are being motivated by the three Vedas. Purified of sinful actions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Doesn't that sound nice? You want to go to Indra Loka and enjoy godly delights? Huh? These guys are saying, I get my stuff from the demigods, it's nice. And here, it says here, if I do it really seriously, I can go to Indra's abode. Why live in Delhi? Even Himachal Pradesh? I could live in Indra Lok. So many beautiful people, such good food, such enjoyment. But then the next verse says, Pitam bhukta swargatam vishkalam, tine punye martyalokam vishanti. But when their credit runs out, so there's a new cruise ship that's going to be 5 times the size of, what is it called? What was that famous one? Titanic, yeah. 5 times the size of Titanic. Now, why doesn't everybody just stay on a cruise? The money runs out. They can only stay there as long as their money allows them to. So why can't someone stay a demigod? Can't stay a demigod. You can only stay a demigod as long as your karmic piety, punye, shine punye martyalokam vishanti. When your karma runs out, your good karma runs out, martyalokam, the world of death you fall back to. That means a human world where people live very short lives. Carmen, I think, had her hand up.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say what you just said.
Okay, yes. So your credit, your bank balance is exhausted. When they thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, the results of their pious activity are exhausted. They return to this mortal world again. Thus, those who are seeking enjoyment by adhering to the principle of the 3 Vedas, actually the only thing they get is birth and death. Like, at least if you go on a cruise, you might have like a souvenir. Now Carmen, she was enjoying in her past life some heavenly delight. Does she have any souvenir? She's born living in El Paso. People only live 100 years there. No no souvenir, nothing, no snow globe from Indralok, nothing. There's no real, you don't benefit. But then Krishna says, but those who worship me with devotion, I take care of them. I carry whatever they lack. I preserve whatever they have. I actually give special care and attention to my devotees. Those who worship the demigods, they just get birth and death. Those who worship the demigods, yanti deva krita devan, ye panya devata bhaktya. Those who are devotees of other gods worship them with, actually worship me. But here's this word, navanit. Avidhi. What does vidhi mean? Vidhi nishtedha. What is the word vidhi?
Vidhi, in Hindi, it's according to the like what's Vidhi Vidhan we say in Hindi, or according to Shastras or according to something.
Rules, yeah, following the right procedure, the rules,
Right procedure because.
So this is avidhi, meaning they're actually worshiping me, but not in the right way.
So means if they are not worshipping Krishna, that means like he's saying they are doing it the wrong way. So is there by chance if they in this year in this means like in this birth they worship Krishna, don't worship Krishna by any chance if they get they get again the birth of a human and they can worship Krishna again?
Yes, yeah. So you're saying if they worship Krishna a little bit, then they get a chance again? Yeah.
No. It's like if like Krishna is saying those who are devotees of other gods means like demigods. He's saying worship them with faith. Actually, worship only me.
Yeah.
So it's like how other. I know that that all means he's the main journal man, main man.
Yeah. So he's describing in the next verse. So all the yajnas, he is the bhokta, he is the Prabhu, he is the only enjoyer and master of all yajnas. And you look in the Vedas, you'll say that actually Vishnu is the prime recipient. So one who doesn't understand this, therefore one who doesn't understand the purpose, they stay in this material nature. They fall down. They do not become enlightened. And therefore he says, he continues, yanti deva pratavevan. So they worship the demigods. Yeah, they can take birth as demigods. They worship the forefathers. They can go to the planet of the forefathers. They worship the ghosts. They can become a ghost. But yanti mad yajino pimam. For those who worship me, come back to me. And as he's explained previously in the Gita, that when you go to Krishna's abode, that's a place of no birth and death. And that's a place where you go there, you never return back to this material world.
So it's a little contradictory here that when Krishna is saying in the previous shlokas that when you are worshipping other gods, so they are worshipping indirectly me, but in a wrong way.
What's the confusion there?
So I want to get confusion is that if Krishna knows that they are worshipping me, so by what will be the consequences of worshipping? They'll go to they'll go to that particular demigod Loka or something like that. But if Krishna is saying that indirectly they are worshipping me, but in a wrong way, so why he's not directly guiding them? Means to again my questions come there like why is not directly guiding to come to him?
He doesn't force anyone. He doesn't force anyone. He creates a system, many different systems to reciprocate with people according to wherever they're at. So he doesn't force them to be lovers of him. He says, okay, you want material desires, you don't want God, you don't want relationship. Well, here is a system that will gradually elevate you to the point where you eventually become a devotee. Naturally, not by force.
Okay, means that will come naturally from somewhere.
Yeah. Or it can, or mainly now, because the Vedic system is a kind of an old, broken system. It's not that people are really following the ancient Vedic system. So, like, for example, say you go to a little village that never have seen any technology. Carmen also has her henna, so I'll get to her in a second. So you go to a village that has never seen any technology. And so somebody brings in some kind of solar generator, and they bring in a microwave. And so they tell the people, you don't have to, cook this potato for so long. You just press on this thing, 400 start, and the microwave turns on, and the food comes out hot. Say it's a representative of Kenmore Electronics. That's like one of the brands, or like a Whirlpool, Kenmore. I don't know if Whirlpool makes microwaves, but so Kenmore, they make a lot of different home appliances. So they come there, and the people try it out, and the thing works. Now, what do you think that? How do you think that affects a person's connection to that representative, the person who brought that knowledge? Would it create some trust?
Yeah, if the thing is working, so definitely it will create some trust.
Okay, so you have say somebody is in a little village, and some brahmana says, you perform this yajna and the rain will come.
Okay.
And this is not Kali Yuga, this is previous Yuga, where they were able to perform very nicely, and the rain came. So what came with it? Trust. Trust in the Shastra, trust in the Vedas. He's like, whoa, man, I got rain. Maybe I can get something better even than rain. So he hears from the Shastra, the sadhus, the brahmanas, and he hears, oh, instead of just getting things in this life, I can get nice things in my next life. I can go, forget having my little farm, I can go to Indraloka.
Okay.
And so because what he did created trust, he's willing to apply some more of the information. He's willing to, Shraddha means a willingness to hear and participate. Shraddha, faith. So he has this willingness to investigate and hear. And with that willingness, he may hear that, your next life. So automatically then there's knowledge. Next life means I'm not this body. There's some jnana that is coming. Even though the person is approaching something that's material, they're getting jnana out of it. Then the next thing is, if they hear more, they hear the Vedas more. What do they hear? They'll hear that even Indra, what to speak of other demigods, the king of demigods, he has troubles, he has problems, he has suffering. And so that they graduate out of the karma kanda section of the Vedas, and they move closer to the jnana kanda section of the Vedas, where they by constant hearing and associating with the brahmanas, the shastra, and the sadhus, they're like, I don't want to become Indra in my next life. I want freedom. I want moksha. I don't want birth and death. I want freedom. And then again, and because they're getting results and realization, trust is developed. And if they continue to hear, like if they open up Bhagavad Gita, or to speak of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and hear, then they'll realize they begin to actually learn about the supreme being behind everything. It all started with just wanting some rain for your farm. Or else, so same example back to the microwave. If the guy comes back and says, hey, this is an electric stove. Hey, this is an electric washing machine. Although they may never even seen that thing, they have a willingness to engage with it, to try it out, to trust it, because the other minor things already worked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got it. Totally. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Carmen G, yes.
Haribo. So I was gonna say, like, going back to like the
Shaka's
demigod.
here. If Jopiti's still there. Oh, she's not there, she says.
She's like on the other side of the spinach bed.
Oh yeah,
But
they
I
can
think she
see
can
your arm, Vishaka. Yes. Yeah, they can see it to the camera right there. They can. She said, look, you want me to blow it up? It's a widescreen camera. Yeah.
Actually, no, she's not here. She went to go get another basket.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, I was gonna say, like, back to the demigods. Even though they like are enjoying and stuff, let's say like they had sort of like what feels like an unlimited amount of like good karma, depth, or whatever. Basically, wouldn't they like get bored eventually because they're not technically exactly with Krishna?
It's
like,
they're heavily intoxicated by material pleasures.
yeah, exactly. So like,
I don't know if they get bored. It's on the type of pleasure that a demigod experiences is way higher than a human. Much higher. So it is in a sense mode of goodness also. It's not like mode of ignorance where there's suffering after enjoyment. It's actually material enjoyment that they've earned. You know?
Oh, interesting. It's like in the material world, in order to like have pleasure, you have to go through suffering. Sort of.
Yeah.
It's like you want to have the pleasure of opening a Krishna house and having a bunch of residents and it's just blissful, but you have to go through the process of getting the place. Sometimes you get rejection for like wanting to do the schedule a certain type of way, like that.
So yeah, it's a little bit of passion, and it's mostly passion and a little bit of goodness, sattva. So it's like, for example, this mentioned in the verse somaras. Somaras is a heavenly intoxicant, but is not in the guna of tamas. It does not bring the consciousness in a dulled state. It actually makes the consciousness quite enlivened.
Oh, interesting.
So Jiva Goswami spoke a lot on this verse, so many different, the verse that we're covering. And he says, yeah, one thing for sure also is we cannot have any offensive attitude towards the demigods. We can't say Vishnu's the best, everybody else is terrible. He said, then you will also, Vishnu will not accept you. It can't be this kind of dogmatic sense. Let's see.
It kind of brings my mind to like where Krishna says like those who I forgot the exact wording, but basically if you go to the devotees, then Krishna accepts you as a devotee. But like if you're like trying to like kind of like ignore the devotees and you're like going to the temple and you're like not paying attention to them at all.
You're talking
just,
about
like,
the three classes of
Krishna.
devotees?
I think so.
But
yeah, that's where my mind goes. Like when you said that.
So yeah, there's a lot to look at with those sattva, rajas, and tamas. a person can be deduced, can be understood to be in sattva because he's not controlled by things. He has complete self-control. Rajas is somebody who he can be recognized by his passion. And Tamas is somebody who can be recognized in Tamas by his anger. You know? So let's go back to our, we're class is going on for a while, so we can do our Brahma Darshanam. What does the word darshan mean? Carmen.
Darshan would be like you're taking darshan of the deities, like you're, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, like you're taking, I don't want to say glances, but like you're sort of taking like association in a way.
The word when in regards to the deities, to take darshan of the deities means to be seen by the deities.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you go there you go to take darshan means you go so the Lord can see you.
So then would it be different for example, like in Dallas, you had something going on called the Darshan room?
Well, the word darshan actually it means to see, and it has many. Like for example, in the Vedic culture, there are 6 darshans. There are 6 different philosophical systems, because philosophy is how we're seeing this world. So you have darshan can mean philosophy. It can mean to see. Like if you want to say in Sanskrit, if you want to say television, you say dura darshanam. If you want to say telephone, you say duravani. And if you want to say mobile telephone, you say jangama duravani. Means mobile telephone.
Interesting.
So darshan means to see. So from sattva, rad brahma darshanam. So with sattva, you can begin to see spirits. So like we said, the window. Sattva is like the window. You can actually begin to start to see what's happening there.
That's actually a good explanation.
Prabhupada gives that example of the window.
Yeah.
So we can practice our verse. I think unless there's any more questions or comments, there's so much, I read so much from, oh, here, let me just share something from, this is really cool. This is from Brahma Samhita. So Brahma Samhita. I think I'm just, let me change what I'm sharing. Here, I'll just share the PDF. 1 second. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, so Jiva Goswami has a really long purport for this verse. And it's all about Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu. There's so many verses. A lot of it's addressing Navneet's question. Yeah. We can read all this stuff later. I can send it to you. But here in the bottom, it has these famous verses from Brahma Samhita. Especially the second one is quite famous. The next shloka group I want to do is Brahma Samhita. What do you guys think? Brahma Samhita?
Yeah, totally with it.
I completely agree.
Yes.
I like what's happening.
So this one I don't even know. Let me see. I don't know this verse. The second one I do. Bashvanya tashma sakaleshu nijeshu teja Sriyam kiyat prakatayati apitavata atra Brahma yad esha jagat anda vidhana karta Govindam Adi Purusham Tambaham Bhajami. So I worship Govinda, who becomes Brahma, the creator of the universe, by bestowing his powers to that jiva. Just as the sun displays a small portion of its powers of heat and light on all sunstones that represented it. So there's a sun, and then there's the sunstone, and it shares a very small portion of its heat and light into the sunstone. And so that's Brahma. And then there's a famous verse, it's a very cool verse about Lord Shiva. It's about Shiva and yogurt. And even in the Sanskrit, it has a verse that has a word that sounds like yogurt, but that's not the word that's yogurt in the verse. But Shiva and Krishna are like milk and yogurt. Krishna's like milk, Shiva's like yogurt. You can make yogurt out of milk, but you can't make milk out of yogurt. It goes only one direction. So Krishna, he is untouched by matter. He is not affected by matter. So similarly, when he desires to take a form that is a little bit more connected to matter, he appears in this form of Lord Shiva, which is compared to milk and yogurt. Yogurt, how do you make yogurt? You boil milk, you let it cool down to the point where it's so cool that you could say one Hare Krishna mantra while your clean pinky is in the milk. You can say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then you take your finger out of the the milk, and then you add when it's that warm that it's not too, doesn't burn your finger, but it's still quite warm. Then you add yogurt, and the whole thing, by the touch of the yogurt, the rest of the milk turns to yogurt. So when Krishna appears in a form that is like by his Shakti, touched by matter, that form is known as Lord Shiva. Shriram Yata Dadivikari Vishesha Yogat Sanjayate Nahitatak Pritak Asti Hetoho Yasham Bhutam Apitata Samupaiti Karyat Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Lord Govinda, who becomes the form of Lord Shiva, who is said to be non-different from Govinda, but who has a different form because of his contact with the transformation of Prakriti. Just as milk becomes yogurt, which can be said to be non-different from its cause, but acts in a different manner. So yeah, if you have digestion problems due to milk, you can take yogurt. Yeah, if you had a bunch of indigestion, yogurt can help you. So it acts differently, although it's the same thing. Deeparcha eva hidashantum abhipeta deepayate. So that was Brahma, Shiva, and the next one is Vishnu. Deepayate vivitehetu samana dharma yastagdiv eva hicha Vishnu tayabi bhati govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. So here in this example, it says a large lamp lights a second lamp, which lights a third lamp. They're all the same. So that's the difference between the Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, is that Vishnu is just like one lamp lighting another lamp. It is the same form of the Lord in its full manifestation, where Brahma is like the sun, and Krishna's like the sun, and Brahma is like a sunstone, which just has a small portion of light and in heat that is being transferred to the sunstone. Does that make sense? Navneet?
Yes, Prabhuji, I got it.
So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. So let's just practice the verse a few times.
Please send the verse to me in the group or so that I can learn.
Here, can you see on the screen?
Oh, yeah.
Partiva daruno dhumas.
Parthiva Daruno Dumas.
I'll pull up here so you can see. So
Parthiva Daruno Dumas.
Tasmat agnis chayimaya.
Tasmad Agnistrayimaya.
Tasmat agnis chayimaya.
Tasmad Agnistrayimaya.
Tamasastu rajastasmat.
Tamasastu Rajastasmad.
Tattvam yad brahma darshanam.
Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshan.
Partiva daruno dhumas.
Parthiva Daruno Dumas.
Lord, a Jagannath is called Daru Brahma.
Yeah, Daru Brahma, because it's made from wood. That's
Yeah.
why
So
Daru
Brahma
Brahma.
means like not Lord Brahma, but spiritual. Yeah. There's Denike, there's Brahma and Brahma. There's so many different words that sound very similar. So Brahma means spiritual, and Brahma is the person with the four heads.
Oh, thanks for
Daru.
clarifying.
And then there's a Brahmana, the priest. There's the Brahmachari. There's Brahman, the effulgence of the Lord, the energy of the Lord.
Wow, thanks for clarifying all that. You're right. You're right.
The Brahma here is like Brahman, or that means spiritual, means God, but it's a little bit more ambiguous. Brahma Darshana means just like spiritual darshan. Transcendental probably says, let's see what it says. Absolute truth, it says there. Absolute truth. Brahma Darshanam.
Wow, thanks for pointing that out.
Parthivad Dharano Dhumas.
Parthiva Daruno Dumas.
Tasmat Agni Chayimaya.
Tasmad Agnistrayimaya.
Tamasastu Rajastasmat.
Tamasastu Rajastasmad.
Sattvam Yat Brahma Darshanam.
Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam. Brahman Darshanam. Krishna.
So let me see. Parthivad Dharana Dhumas.
Parthiva Daruno Dumas.
Parthivad Dharana Dhumas.
Parthiva Daruno Dumas.
Parthivad Dharana Tumas.
Parthiva Daruno Dumas.
Tasmat Agni Chayimaya.
Tasmad Agnistrayimaya.
Tasmat Agni Chayimaya.
Tasmad Agnistrayimaya.
Tamasastu Rajastasmat.
Tamasastu Rajastasmad.
Tamasastu Rajastasmat.
Tamasastu Rajastasmad.
Tatpadyad Brahma Darshanam.
Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam.
Anybody else want to recite it?
Okay, I want to try.
Okay.
Parthiva Daruno Dumas. Tasmad Agnistrayimaya. Tasmasastu Rajastasmad. Sattvam Yad Brahmana Darshanam.
Okay, very nice. Danica, you want to give it a shot?
Okay. Parthivad Tamas. Tasmad Agnis Chayimaya. Tamasastu Rajas Tasmat. Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam.
Fantastic. Okay, I think we can end here. It's a little longer class.
Great.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great class.
Much. Now, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, and thank you so much for like wonderful class.
Thank you, thank you. Wonderful philosophy. We all have wonderful teachers, Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas and our spiritual masters. So we just have to be like a window, let the light come right through. Jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.